Hey, you know that feeling when you're looking at a map and you just stare? I do that all the time. I'll be tracing a route on my phone, and my eyes will land on the space between countries, on those blue voids that separate lands, and I'll wonder, is this permanent? Or is it just a snapshot, a single frame in a very, very long movie? It's a thought that hits differently when you've built a life across 2 continents, like I have. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is Echoes of the Ancients. Today, we're rewinding the film, not by centuries, but by millennia. We're going to a time when you could have walked from Amsterdam to London without getting your feet wet. When the North Sea was not a sea at all, but a vast, low-lying plain of hills, marshes, forests, and rivers. A lost world that connected Britain to mainland Europe. Archaeologists call it Doggerland, and its story ends with one of the most dramatic natural disasters to ever shape human history and the map of our world. Imagine it with me. 8,000 years ago, the last great ice age had retreated, but the planet was still adjusting. The massive ice sheets had melted, pouring their water back into the oceans, but sea levels were rising slowly, gradually. In that interim, Doggerland existed. It was a thriving, habitable landscape, the size of modern-day Britain itself. This wasn't some barren tundra, it was rich. Herds of mammoth, though declining, aurochs, and red deer roamed its hills. Rivers teemed with fish, and people lived here. Mesolithic hunter-gatherers, our ancestors, made their homes on this land. They left behind tools, harpoon points, and the echoes of their daily lives in the peat and sediment. They knew this land intimately, its seasonal migrations, its sacred hills, its reliable freshwater springs. To them, it wasn't a land bridge. It was home, the entire world. But beneath that world, something was stirring. Off the coast of modern-day Norway, there was a geological feature known as the Storegga Slide. Think of it as an entire continental shelf, a massive chunk of undersea land that was fundamentally unstable. It was made of sediment, glacial debris that had been dumped there for eons, and it was clinging to the slope, waiting for a trigger. And around 6150 BCE, it got one. It might have been a small earthquake, just the right nudge. And that's when the unthinkable happened. The entire slope failed. I need you to picture the scale of this, because it's almost beyond human comprehension. An area of seabed the size of Scotland, thousands of cubic miles of rock, sand, and mud, collapsed and slid into the deep abyssal plain of the Norwegian Sea. The energy release was cataclysmic. This wasn't just a landslide. It was the single largest natural event to affect northwestern Europe since the end of the Ice Age. And the immediate consequence was a tsunami. A wall of water that raced southwards across the North Atlantic at terrifying speed. Now, put yourself in Doggerland. It's a lowland. Much of it is just a few meters above the sea level of the time. A hunter is tracking deer near a river valley. A family is gathering reeds in a coastal marsh. The day is normal. Then, perhaps, a strange recession of the water, a pulling back of the sea that leaves fish flapping on the suddenly exposed mud. And then, a sound. A deep, terrifying roar on the horizon. And the wave comes. Not a surfing wave, but a moving wall of ocean, perhaps 5, 10, maybe even 20 meters high in places, carrying the force of a continent's collapse. It would have scoured the landscape, uprooting forests, drowning every living thing in its path, and surging far inland. The water would have rushed up those river valleys, turning them into instant inlets of death. The first wave was likely followed by others. In a single day, the heart of Doggerland was not just flooded, it was pulverized. The aftermath is a silent, chilling chapter. The tsunami itself was a horrific event, but it was the coup de grace. Sea levels had already been slowly rising, nibbling away at the edges of this land for centuries. The tsunami delivered the final, brutal blow. It turned the central basin of Doggerland into an inland sea, a vast, expanding lake of salt water. What remained, a few scattered islands, the highest hills, would have been utterly unrecognizable to the survivors. Their hunting grounds were gone. Their spiritual landmarks were submerged. Their entire world, their entire map, had been literally erased. Within a few more centuries, even those last islands slipped beneath the waves. Britain was finally, irrevocably, an island. The people who lived through this, their trauma, is unimaginable. They became refugees of a lost geography. carrying with them stories of a great flood that must have echoed down through generations, perhaps finding their way into the mythologies of the cultures that came after. And here's the thing that truly haunts me. We know this happened. This isn't myth. We have the geological evidence. Core samples from the North Sea floor show a sudden, violent layer of sand and debris, right in the middle of the peaceful silt and peat, the signature of that tsunami. Fishermen for decades have been dragging up mammoth bones and ancient tools in their nets from the very bottom of the North Sea. They called it the bone ground. They were trawling the drowned forests of Doggerland. We've even mapped its rivers using seismic data, seeing the ghostly outlines of its valleys now hundreds of feet underwater. I think about this story from my own perspective as an engineer and a storyteller. The engineer in me sees the terrifying, awesome physics of it, the unstable slope, the release of energy, the wave dynamics. It's a catastrophic systems failure on a planetary scale. But the storyteller, the human in me, feels a profound connection to those Mesolithic people. I left one land for another, by choice, following opportunity. I can trace my journey on a map. I can go back. They had their world taken from them by the literal ground shifting under their feet. Their map was deleted. There is no going back. It makes the ground beneath us feel less solid, and the borders we draw on maps feel so temporary. We think of land as the ultimate symbol of permanence, but Doggerland is the proof that it is not. So the next time you look at a map and you see Britain sitting alone in the Atlantic, or you board a flight across the North Sea, I want you to remember, beneath that blue, beneath the waves and the shipping lanes and the wind farms, there is a lost world. There are hills no one has climbed for 8,000 years. There are riverbeds where no water has flowed since the Storegga Slide collapsed. There are stories, utterly silent now, buried in the mud. The world is not as fixed as it seems. It has a memory, written in geology and in the faint, echoing stories of those who survived its changes. Thank you for listening to this episode of Echoes of the Ancients. If this story of a lost world resonated with you, please do share it with someone who'd find it fascinating. It really helps us grow. For more deep dives into the forgotten chapters of our past, make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. This show is produced by Light Knot Studios. You can find more of our work and support independent storytelling by visiting us at https://www.lightknotstudios.com. Until next time, keep listening for the echoes.